Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and I am back with my guest designer spot for the scrap room. I'm using the Flavor of the Month kit, and today I'm going to be pulling out the Doodlebug Bee Happy collection. I also pulled out this free sketch from Scrapbook Generation. The Doodlebug Bee Happy collection for the Flavor of the Month includes 3 pieces of pattern paper, as well as some black cardstock, and then some of the Doodlebug die cuts, as well as the stickers. They all vary. And then I'm also going to be using the embellishment kit, which includes the full 12x12 sticker sheet. Like I explained in my unboxing video, which I will link it below if you haven't seen it already, these are photos of Eli with his little sister, and they were just playing on the floor. It was such a sweet moment between the two of them. He was just really making her giggle, and they were having a good time. I feel like for this month, I measured a lot more than I normally do, and I do feel like you have to do that with these collections because you're only getting 3 pieces of paper. So I had this fear in the back of my mind that I would cut a piece of paper and I wouldn't have enough of it for whatever reason. So I did a lot of measuring. For the larger background piece on this layout, I decided to use that yellow honeycomb. It does total 12 inches, and I have 8.5 of the paper on the left hand side and then the rest of it on the right hand side. I also did trim it down just because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't wasting any paper. So there is 3 inches on the top and I have 1 inch on the bottom. As I was cutting out the paper, I realized that there was this 4x4 card that had 2 little bees on it that were sitting on a mushroom, and I just thought it was so cute. So I do decide that I want to use that, and I'm going to pull in a flip flap later. The centerpiece of the sketch calls for multiple strips, but I wanted to simplify it. One, to help with the amount of paper that I had, which I could have absolutely brought in the other sheet of paper since I didn't use it at all. But I really like this green paper with the daisies as well as the bees, and I wanted to kind of showcase it. So I just had a full strip in the center. I then used the polka dotted paper as my 1/4 inch strip, and I added that above and below that green paper. That black floral is so cute, but it actually doesn't make it on the layout at all. I do go ahead and cut down all of my strips so that they line up. Everything is cut down to 10 inches because I do have a 4x6 and a 4x4 photo on both sides of the layout. I also decided to round the corners of the honeycomb paper. I have been really enjoying rounded corners lately, and I'm not sure why, but I definitely go through phases where I'm pulling that corner rounder out quite a bit. This is where I decided to go ahead and print another photo, and it actually works out well because the photo that ended up being in the flip flap is very similar to the photo that's on the layout. So having that flip flap gives you the option of seeing the additional photo as well as that really cute 4x4 card, but it also gave me a chance to add one more photo to the layout. I do decide to adhere all of the photos flat to the layout except for the photo that's going to be on the bottom. I do put that one up on fun foam just to give it a little bit of dimension. As I'm getting the right hand side of the paper down, I do want to encourage you guys to go check out the ScrapRoom Facebook group as well as the website. There's lots of inspiration each month for the kits that you get with the Flavor of the Month. Over on the Facebook group, there are challenges that you don't have to use the kits that you purchase from the ScrapRoom. The challenges include a Freaky Fast Friday as well as usually 2 sketch challenges. And so if you are looking for sketch inspiration or challenges, definitely go check out the ScrapRoom's Facebook group. Of course, I did have to pull out my 2-square ruler and my X-Acto knife to trim down the paper because you guys know that I don't ever get anything cut straight or the correct size. And sometimes I wonder how that's even possible when I'm just using 4x6 photos, but it is what it is. So now that I've got the base paper down, I am going to figure out which one of my 1/4 inch strips are the same size, because I don't ever cut them correctly. I usually end up cutting them the same size as one other strip, but the 4 strips are never the same size, and I've just accepted it. But I really do like the way that that polka dot gives a little bit of break between the photos as well as that kind of busy paper with the bees and the daisies on it. So if you follow my channel at all, you know that Eli is my nephew. He's been living with me for about 5 years now. And my sister does have a 2-year-old as well, and she lives about 10 minutes from me, so they do come over often. So Eli does get to interact and have some time with his sister. And I think that the relationship between them is pretty awesome, since there is a pretty big age gap with him being 14 and her being 2. And I feel like these photos show you just how much love he has for his little sister. Of course, I'm going to add some stitching to this layout. I pulled out this template. I did pick it up at scrapbook.com. It has been discontinued. I don't know that you can purchase it anywhere else. I love this thing. It's one of those things that will probably never get purged. Mainly use it for that rounded corner that's full 12 inches. I did have to line it up so that I could have that rounded corner around the entire honeycomb paper. And then I pulled out my yellow thread, and I love the way that this yellow thread looks on the black paper. I did slow the video down here so that you could see it. You can see that I made lots of mistakes. There's lots of little pieces that don't line up. Again, it is one of those things that I just go with. The photos are the star of the show, and scrapbooking should be fun, not perfect. So it's okay that there's some mistakes in my stitching. It just makes sure that you realize that it's handmade. After I got the stitching done, I went ahead and added the photo down with the fun foam on the bottom. It is a lot easier to do some stitching without photos or anything popped up. And then I'm going to start with my embellishments. One of the things that I have realized with using the Flavor of the Month kit, and I forgot about this because I was on their design team a long time ago. You can see the supplies that I have up there at the top that come with this collection. When you have limited supplies, the layouts come together so much quicker. I feel like when you reduce the ability to search through a ton of embellishments and you just are presented with what is given in these collections, it makes for really quick layouts. So if this is something that you are wanting to do, you want to get a ton of layouts created, the Flavor of the Month kit is a perfect way to do that, because you're going to get 4 collections every single month. You will have to spend the time to figure out what photos are going to work with those collections, but once you sit down with it, regardless of whether you're following a sketch, the Freaky Fast Friday challenge, or you're just doing it on your own, having less things to choose from really do make a big difference. And then if it is something that you love, you get the collection and you're like, oh my goodness, I love this collection so much, I want to do more, then you can go and purchase, the entire collection or different pieces from it or things like that. But I feel like having a sampling of the collections allow you to just get more pages done. I did decide for my title on this layout that I needed to pull in from my own stash. I do have a die that I picked up from My Favorite Things that spells out the word sweet. So my title is going to be Sweet as Can Be. I did use Nicole's Dicker technique. I will link her video below. I stacked 2 pieces of white cardstock, and then I used the polka dotted pattern paper on top. So I have 3 layers, and it gives me that look of thickers, and Nicole lovingly calls them dickers, DIY dickers. And I think that it worked really well with this layout, because I did have that one little tab that says as can be, and I feel like my title Sweet as Can Be is just perfect. I cut out all of these tags, and I really did plan to use multiple tags in this layout, but ultimately I only ended up using 2 of them. I thought about having a cluster of 3 of them up above my photo, but I didn't like the way that they looked. I felt like it was way too busy. So I ended up just cutting off the top part of the tag and using that right above my photo. Because I have the full 12 by 12 sticker sheet, I wanted to incorporate these borders. My initial thought was that I could add them to the bottom part where that green paper is, but then I realized that I needed 2 of them to span across the double page layout, so I just ended up using them on the ends of where the photo and the paper is. Of course, I am still struggling with this ATG gun. This was actually recorded earlier in the month, and I have since replaced that roll, and I'm so glad that I have finished that roll, because it did struggle a lot, and I left all of it in so that you guys could see it. Over on the left-hand side, I added a honeycomb as well as a little bear, just because he's so stinking cute. And then over on the right, I added to my title cluster that floral piece with the little mushrooms, and I did add that flat to the layout, but I used some fun foam on a little bee right above it, and I think he he's so cute because he's got like a little trumpet. I then added that tag topper right next to the floral pieces, and I started to add the border strips over on the left. I didn't get a chance to add the pattern paper with that black floral, but I really like how that border sticker just finishes off the right hand side of the layout. I also decided to add the green gingham border sticker on top of the florals, and I just love the double border edge on the right hand side. I did do some journaling because I had a lot of it. I know that's a surprise because I seem to have a lot of journaling lately. I often get asked what journaling font I'm using. It's called Shadows into the Light. It is available on Google Sheets and a couple other Google products. I don't know if it's available in Word or not. I love that font. It does give the look of actual handwriting. I first thought that I would add my journaling over on the left-hand side, but realized that it wasn't going to fit up there. So I nestled it around my embellishments over on the left-hand side at the top. My journaling does say, "There's something unbelievably sweet about a big brother choosing to slow down and play on the floor with his sister. Just Eli and Neveah giggling and sharing a quiet kind of joy. Moments like this remind me that love doesn't have to be loud to be strong. Like honey, it's the slow, sticky kind that lingers. Watching them together with his patience and her delight, it really was sweet as can be." Since I didn't have my journaling down at the bottom, I decided to add one of those really large stickers. It has a little bee in it. It does match kind of the bees that's going to be in that flip flap that I'm going to add. So I really like that. And then I did add the sticker that says "Love This," and it's pointing to both of them laying on their bellies and just looking at each other. I did add some jute twine to my tag topper up on the upper right hand corner. And then I pulled out the puffy stickers and added some bees around the clusters. I wanted to add a few word phrases, so over on the right I added "be beautiful." And then I did pull in some of the hearts. I added some flat to the layout and some I did use some fun foam on. Going back to the puffy stickers, I'm going to add some hearts as well as additional bees. And I did drop one of my journaling strips on the photos. I tried to wipe it all off. I felt like I got it before, but I had to ultimately go back and wipe it down again, just to make sure that I got all of the liquid adhesive off of that photo. And at this point, I'm really just going through the embellishments that I got as well as the sticker sheet, just trying to find smaller pieces that I can add to each one of the clusters. I do feel like I used a lot of this collection, and I really loved the way that this came out. I mean, it is Doodlebug, and you guys know how much I love Doodlebug. I don't think that I've ever completed a layout from them that didn't turn out super cute. I felt like I needed another little cluster in the bottom right-hand side, even though there are already 3 clusters. I just felt like there was a lot of dead space over there. And so I added the little circle tag that has the bear on it, as well as the one that has the bee. This is where I was trying to add additional tags, but they just weren't working for this layout. I thought about adding the striped one, but when I went to put it down, the polka dotted one just looked better, so I decided to ultimately go with that one. And of course, adding some jute twine to the tag hole. I do use glue dots to make sure that the jute twine does stay where I want it to stay. I felt like I needed a word phrase in this cluster as well, so I pulled out this teal one that says memories, and then I also pulled out the white one that says happy, so the little phrase says happy memories, and I did put the happy up on fun foam, and of course I had to add one of those other little bees to that cluster as well. I'm so glad that I got like a full strip of the puffy bees because I used quite a few of them on this layout. I also added some hearts over on the far right hand side. I really like that the Flavor of the Month kit does include different pieces that are different textured. So in this one you got some puffy stickers, you also got some flat embellishments from the embellishment kits as well as the stickers. So you can really mix and match the pieces and get lots of texture on your layout. I do have a video of them playing on the floor, not just the pictures. I forgot to add the QR code, but I do add it before I take the photos of this layout. I added the mushroom over on the far left just simply because it was there and I wanted to make sure I was using up as much as I could, as well as that black floral. All right, that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I do have the video of them playing on the floor linked at the very end of this video if you would like to check it out. It's just a sweet moment between a big brother and a little sister. Make sure you go check out the Scrap Room, where their goal is to get more pages done. The Flavor of the Month kit is designed with that goal in mind. If you do sign up for their kit, each month you will receive a box containing 4 individually packaged and unique page kits, giving you a sample of the latest and greatest in the scrapbooking products. These kits contain enough paper and embellishments to complete at least 8 single page layouts or 4 double page layouts. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.